What's up, guys? Welcome back to the crazy life of Jake and Wife. And last week we talked about ADHD and how it kind of rules our life. And now we have a guest on the show who also deals with it. And today we are talking about ADHD 2.0. Okay, guys, so we are here with Bill. Bill is one of my good friends. We've known each other for quite a while. And
Decade.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I first met you, this is, I think, something that a lot of us carry, if you will.
I know where he's going.
Not the first time
we carry a lot of confidence, okay? And some people take that as cocky or I'm better than you. And it's funny because half the time we are unaware of that, but we're just confident of what we're doing. When I first met Bill, Bill was just very, see, my color has to be perfect, but Bill was very, a matter of fact, straightforward. We were doing business deals together, and I wasn't sure how I felt about him. I already knew my dad didn't super care for him.
That was the wrong way. He hated me.
That was the wrong thing to say.
But I didn't really know what to think. I didn't have a problem with you, but I was like, I wonder how this guy's going to roll. He could either come off as it's my way or the highway, or we have become extremely good friends because we understand each other to the point. And that is something that's very big with ADHD. When we do something, we are all the way in. So the way we come off sometimes is, I guess some people, like I say, do call it cocky. I look at it as very confident because I'm not going to show you something until I have fully understood it.
And sometimes it's also concentrated. Like their concentration can't be split. It really can't. Like Jake's brain is not really going to remember laundry or other things if he's thinking about the guitar right now. His concentration cannot be split like that.
I have to break this here. Tegan is adjusting cameras right now. And people with ADHD is like, what's going wrong? What's going on? Oh, yeah, whatever. Can't say that. It's like a fly. Kids. Okay, sorry.
And continuing.
So since we were here today with Bill had a couple things that we wanted to talk about, and I'm sure we're just going to kind of
he was actually sitting behind the camera last week, like.
Yes.
Yep,
I want to, I've got to bite my tongue. I want to jump in here.
Before I am going to jump over and just let Bill talk, but after knowing Bill for the many years I've been to his house, he's been to my house, we've recognized our very similarities and how much, ADHD is a very big part of both of our lives. And how has that become a benefit and how has it become sometimes a weakness on things? I remember we shared about knives one day in your office. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And we went back and forth on like, oh, this Spyderco, this Benchmade, this new Koenig, like all these cool pieces. And it's just interesting. But you brought a book today. I actually haven't heard of this book yet.
So I'm going to get to this book. So I want to go back to when we met. I didn't know I had ADHD. I was just like, this is normal. This is normal Bill. I always looked at the way I carried myself as confident, and I was compensating for so many things. And we're going to hit on some points from last week's podcast because Jake and I lived a very different life coming up. And as you can tell, I'm younger than Jake. Not.
Depending on the camera, maybe I will be 33 here in December. 34 in December. I'm 33 now.
You're both bald, so it just kind of like, it like suspends you in age for at least 20 years.
There's 16 years difference between us. So when I was growing up, there was no such thing as the stigma of ADHD, or it wasn't a conversation, and people kind of steered away from it because it was like, oh, you're a leper or some kind of weird stereotype. And my parents weren't in a place where they cared either. So we'll probably talk a little bit about that. But let's say about 5 years ago, my son came home from, I came home from work, and my wife and my son were in the kitchen. And as soon as I walked in, I looked at him, I was like, what? And my son goes, you're ADHD. I'm like, no, I'm not. And he was like, oh, no, you are. It's hereditary. I was like, nope, it's your mom. And I was like, and she was like, there's absolutely no chance. That's absolutely you. And I was like, nope, not a chance. And my son was like, okay, well, let's take the test. I was like, what test? And he was like, there's a test. There's actually 5 different variations of ADHD, and I'm 3 of the 5. And you learn from taking this test. I was like, fine, let's just all take the test. So we sat there and we all took the test, and boom, I was all 3 of the same that he was. And I was like, oh, okay. What does this mean? So then I went to my doctor, which I'm super comfortable with. And I was like, best doctor I've ever had, Dr. Erickson. He's the bomb. I said to him, I said, you've been working with me for a while and you know me intimately and my struggles. And like, I'm very honest with my doctor. And I said, do you think I have ADHD? He was like, yeah. I was like, well, why have we done something about this?
How
He was
come
like,
you never said anything?
he was like, well, you got a lot going on, Bill. So if you're ready to address it now, we can start trying drugs and doing some things and figuring it out.
That came off great.
And I was like, okay, great.
The best part is Jake had the like same exact experience with the doctor. So
Having a good doctor that you're comfortable with is so important in life, though. Like
100%. 100%. You got to have a good.
I don't know if we mentioned in the last podcast, the same concept. I asked my doctor, I said, hey, what do you think about Adderall? And he's like, for you? And I'm like, well, yeah. He goes, absolutely. I'm like, are you for real? He goes, Jake, you're one of the most ADHD person I've met. I'm going to let you keep going, though, but I did have some questions. If you're finished, I had some questions for you. 100%. Now, since you kind of realize that, for me, like when I was like, when I finally was like, man, maybe I do have this. Not that it's something bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But something that once you can recognize, then you can actually use it for benefit. But after now realizing this, or coming to the realization for yourself, looking back on your life from a kid, now do you see it though?
100%. Like,
I'm curious, as you're growing up, what are some things when you were younger that you were like, now looking back as an adult, that, oh, there was this that I can recognize now were definitely signs of there's ADHD. Are there anything specific?
We can just dive straight into I'm pretty much an open book now. I was not raised in a faith-based family. My parents were divorced and they were just addiction machines. They had all kinds of addiction issues. And growing up from birth, I was like introduced to that world in a lot of different ways. And it was just normal. Like, that's just normal. That's the way people are. And I was just having this conversation with my business partner, Jay, yesterday after we were doing some work. And we were talking about preschool. And I'm sitting in preschool and I remember like looking around at all the other kids and being like, these people have no clue. Like, they live in fantasy land. Like, this isn't real. Like, the real world out there is vicious, dangerous, and filled with all these things. And I just immediately realized that, there's something very different about the way my lenses work versus other people. And then like you covered last week about, I think M did, about addictions and like the coping mechanisms for that dopamine rush. Jake said last week that he found outlets with things like the obsessive compulsive collecting, mastering, and whatever. I did that too. I still do it. I'm a fanatic about it.
I don't think I'll ever grow out of it myself.
Yeah.
M does too in different manners.
Yeah.
It's there's something.
But addictions, man, I dove straight into whatever could satisfy my appetite for that feeling of like relief or feeling excited or like stifling the way I felt. Not being on medication for ADHD really was, now I can see it. I can see like, wow, I was trying to satisfy something that I couldn't get from anything else. It also, throughout my young life growing up, I was in gangs and fought a lot. And it was like the same thing. That was an addiction for me because I literally got that excitement from being in it. And I grew up in a very violent kind of environment in an inner city. And it was like when gangs started really becoming a popular thing. So my high school was just overrun with gangs and I dove into it head first. And my position was always, you might be bigger, you might be badder, you might have some kind of advantage on me, but you're not going to knock me down. And then I get knocked down and I get back up. And like, it was just wild thinking about that. My body hurts now from it because I've been hit with every possible thing that you could ever imagine. But still, like that rush, like, man, that hunger was.
We talked about something last week before we were on camera. I mean, after camera, I should say. That reminds me of this. And this is where sometimes ADHD can be a downside. We're extremely competitive.
100%.
I mean, if anybody knows me, I'm going to win. I'm going to win, right? Yeah. Now that comes off as cocky, but what it is this is what it comes down to sometimes. And this is where it can be a downfall. If we feel like we may not win something, whatever it be, whether it's a business idea, a game, a physical board game back and forth. I want to start this project, but it might not be the best, or I might not be the best at it. We refuse to just try it. That's honestly not the best thing.
It's not. I'm glad you brought that up. So I was in the media business for 30 years before Jay and I opened this advertising studio. And I was being courted by a very large media company in Cincinnati to become a manager. And in order to become a manager, you had to go through all this training and assessments and things. And one of the things we did was we did a character assessment trait test. And you answered a gazillion questions, and then they rank your 36 different, I think it's 36 different character traits from the most dominant, number one, down to the least. And when I got done, my number one character trait was competition. And I was like, well, of course, like I'm in sales. It's like, we have to win. Like every day is a battle and I'm going to win. And there was other things, and you read the description and of the strength of being competitive. And it's because you're extremely driven, and you won't take no for an answer. You'll find a way, you'll figure out a relationship need or something like that. But then it says the negatives, like your strengths, are also your biggest weakness. And just to Jake's point, the description said, if you don't know going into any situation where you're in a competitive setting and you don't know that you're going to win, like not like, I could probably win this. No, like I'm absolutely going to win this thing. You won't do it.
Yeah, and it's 100% I'm going to win. If it's I might win, it's still bad. Yep. I'm going to actually talk to my wife on this one a little. When we look at our kids, this exact thing here sometimes comes off as they're lazy, right? Yeah. It's like, man, they're just lazy. They won't do it, or they won't do it. Now I'm talking to myself actually a lot here. I look at myself, especially at work, or things that I don't want to do around the house, or laundry specifically, just anything. But it comes off as you're just lazy, but it's kind of like I'm all or I'm nothing. So like if I'm going to do the laundry, it's got to all be done. I won't just do a little bit. So instead, I'm just not going to do it. And that's a bad trait. That's a weakness sometimes where it comes down to, because frankly, we should be willing to try things, or I don't know how we get it into our head sometime where just doing a little bit is better than doing none. And I'm not that guy. I'm not going to do a little bit. I'm going to do all of it.
Like,
I'm going to do none of it.
Probably one of the things that will make me the most crazy, because I don't know if this is just something that you figure out when you're taking care of a house and doing all the things that every day you have to take care of certain things, right? Dishes got to get done, counters got to get wiped off. And sometimes things get missed. Sometimes you're going to go to bed without a clean kitchen. Hopefully not, but it is what it is. But Jake is very much if I can't do it all right now, then I'm not going to do any of it. And also, if everybody's not going to be helping me get it done, then I'm not going to do it either. So like me, I'll go and do a load of laundry, fold the laundry, get everything ready to be put away, and then I'll wait until the rest of the laundry is ready to go upstairs, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to take a trip upstairs to go put laundry away in the 3 kids' rooms, and I'm going to wait till I've got all 3 kids' laundry ready to go upstairs, so I don't have to make all these trips. And Jake's like, no, we're going to go do it right this second, every single time. And that comes a little bit from his mom too, but like just everything has to be right now. And he's going to get everybody has to come do it. Mom has to come do it. Every kid has to come do it. We're all going to go do it. And I'm like, dude, this is expending too much energy.
I'm good at pep talks.
There's too much energy expended here. Can I just go put it away? Because I do not want to fight with everybody. And then the laundry doesn't get put away well, and then I don't know where things are. And anyway, so it's interesting to see how different the dynamic is, because for me, he's probably doing it right, because he wants everybody to be involved. He wants to make the kids do their own stuff. And I'm like, it's faster if I do it. It gets put where I want it.
I hate when she does it, because I know how I grew up. My mom did everything, and it completely ruined me for learning how to do things. In fact, I just don't want to do it. I want to delegate it. So I don't want my kids to be that way.
His bed, he would make his bed, but he wouldn't make his bed right, because his mom does beds with military precision.
Oh boy, better than the military precision.
Her dad, your grandpa was the superintendent of the school district.
You can see us generation after generation.
He sent her home from school to make her bed correctly.
Wow.
And so she's raised on making a bed correctly. And so Jake's attempt at it was not good enough. So she just did it anyway. And he's like, well, if you're going to do it anyway, I'm not going to do it.
I remember making my bed, and I was so proud. Look, Mom, look. And she comes and she's like, oh, thank you.
And then she
pulled it
goes
apart.
in.
She didn't do it to be me, but I felt like a puppy just got slapped. I'm like, well, what the heck? I'm not going to try to do that again then. And so there's little
And
things
this
where,
is why our kids have zipper pants.
and you know what's funny? Because I literally just mentioned this. Some effort's better than no, which I don't like. I'm either going to all or nothing. But I tell my kids all the time, I'd rather just see some effort. Just show me some, because I am not the perfectionist on certain things like my mom was on cleaning or my parents are on cleaning. I don't really care to be as clean as them, but I want to see my kids try. I want to see them do this. But it's funny because the little things are what bothers me.
Always.
House could be clean, but there's one crumb on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm ticked.
And he's
How
going to
could
say
you leave-
something
How
about
could you
it.
leave that instead of just pick up the crumb? I'm like, Brooks, Maverick, who
And it's
left
the one
crumb?
thing that like I'm like, golly, because there could be one thing on the floor. I'm like, then just pick it up and throw it away. Just pick it up and throw it away. And he's
The
like,
little
no, I need to
things.
find the person that put it here and make them do it. I'm like, holy crap.
You'll notice though
What did you eat today?
Yeah. The little things bother us. I do want to talk about one thing here though. The difference between most women and men, because you do have things
Yeah.
that are more, frankly, almost secretive, small things that you do that would contribute like an ADHD trait.
Yeah.
Whereas for men, it's much more visible. Like you're going to see it. Whereas women, it's more like, I don't know how to describe it. You know what I'm talking about?
Kind of, I think women are different in general, like the way that we think. I also think it has to do a lot with the responsibility in the household. So follow me along here for a second, because all of our brains go all the different directions, right? So you look at the things that maybe you don't do in the household. Those are a mental load that I need to take care of in the household, right? So imagine with me for a second that both of us had the same hobbies. How would our house look?
It wouldn't be good.
Yeah. So there's a difference.
It'd be like the model train set house.
Oh boy.
Right. But it wouldn't get clean. It wouldn't get any of these things, because if we're both like, Maverick comes home every day working on a Lego set right now. 20, he's got 4 packages left. He's super excited. You come home, you're doing guitar stuff. So somebody's maintaining. So I think the difference is that women's outlets are different. Like, weakness for me, spending money probably on things, buying things. I like to shop. I like to get stuff. I mean, Jake likes to spend money too, but it's different. Like,
But I don't secretly do it. She secretly does it.
I don't secretly do it.
Oh, she does. But that's not.
But-
that's not. I'm not here to argue. And this is where you can see the crazy life of Jake and wife. There is. That's been some things in our marriage
In the past,
too,
yes,
where things have been secretive, and we've tried to recognize this, and I think Bill has recognized this too. You gotta just be open sometimes. Like Bill and I have struggled with the same things, certain addictions that are just hard. And frankly, I wish I could say I'm going to be 100% in my life, but I know I'm not. I know sometime I'm going to probably fall again. And so I know that I
in
have
the
to be able to
past,
talk to her.
I think there's been, especially for me, and a little bit of it, I'll tell you, this is going to get really deep into my psyche here. And my family might not love this one. But so, oh my goodness,
Whatever you're
stop
thinking of
crying.
is deep, I can tell. Yeah.
Tegan, we need tissues.
Oh, it's okay.
I might start crying,
I've had
Tegan.
this conversation with Jake before. I grew up with some financial instability in our family. We moved here from when I was 9. Things were fine before that. Like, they were okay. We lived in Portland, and my parents were apartment managers, so things were okay. We always had a place to live and security that way. But we moved out here to help my grandparents. They were struggling, and there just wasn't a lot. My dad worked in Utah because that was the job he could get at that time, and he there just wasn't enough money. My mom and my grandpa were doing jobs and stuff, but there wasn't. And I remember like Christmases where people dropped stuff off on the porch, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
But I grew up with a lot of the time my mom, who was also financially insecure because she didn't have a lot of power over the situation. She came to a point in her, like in that life where it was, I was the oldest, and it was always like, well, I'd say, can we go to McDonald's, or can we do this? And it was like Monday, and she'd be like, we have $20 until Friday. That's it. But it was like that all the time.
Yeah.
You know, there was just never a lot, and grew up on like going to the thrift store for all of clothes and back to school shopping and everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But
as a child, it's really hard to understand why
to
the
make it work,
right?
to make the mental jump, right?
Yeah.
And so it became like, I remember when I was a teenager and I wanted to do dance and stuff like that. It was always like, well, I can't ask because we don't have any money. So I can't ask to do these things. Can't put that burden on my parents, right? So what that ended up translating to as a weakness in marriage was I was not built to rely on somebody for things. I got into a ton of like credit card debt in our marriage because that I did not tell him about. And when he would ask me about it, I'd say no, because it was my responsibility to take care of it. It was my problem.
Yeah.
I did it. And I have to get myself back out of it because I can't rely on somebody else to do that. And it's not their responsibility.
Yeah.
So that's been like big weakness for me. It was a big issue for us like several years ago. It's been, you know, still like it's been a lot better, but like, and we've been able to have that honest communication about it. But it took me a long time to be able to get to that point because it just didn't have that foundation.
Which frankly is a little bit of an ADHD trait.
Oh, it is. And it's
because we look for that,
I will tell you this too. It was
dopamine stimulation.
Especially after my second child, I ended up gaining a lot of weight. Maybe not like hundreds of pounds, but a lot for me. And I think I was like impulse buying a lot because I was trying to make myself feel better, right? Like, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. Just had a baby, probably dealing with some kind of postpartum depression that I just...
As you can see now, though, she looks pretty hot.
Sure. But I was like diagnosing, or not diagnosing. I was dopamine chasing at that point, right? Trying to find something that felt good.
I think people struggle with the word addiction a lot because it's like
that's what's hard. Sometimes
right?
It's not easy to admit because this is an addiction. I have an addiction to buying guitars, Halloween decorations. We will post a picture by beginning.
Halloween decorations right now.
I'm sure it's totally ludicrous.
But the only way to get over these things, though, you can't do it by yourself. This has been our conversation with us on specifically this matter or other matters. You can't do it by yourself.
100%.
You can't. And if you keep anything internalized, anything, it doesn't matter what it is, if you're struggling with it, you keep it internalized, you will not win. You will continue to get deeper and deeper and deeper. This is a hard one to talk about, but it's a real thing. Pornography, right?
Yeah.
Bill and I have struggled with this in the past. I know some people struggle with it more than others. It's been something that's been there in my life. Maybe not something that's overtaken my life, but it's been there, right? Yeah. It's been a consistency. It's been something that every few months or once a year or there's sometimes it's better than others. You find yourself, and it's never like, at least for me, I don't know how it was for you. It was never like, I think I'm just going to go look right now.
Yeah.
This is what's so crazy about that one specifically. You're here, and then you click on this article, and then you click on this one, and before you know it,
you're deep down the well.
You're here. And this
one's
one
pretty wild for me because I've never actually seen this.
Well, and different between men and women
we have
sometimes.
a very
Right?
different algorithm. I tell them all the time.
But let me tell you about this one and the power and the weakness from it. Right? You keep this one buried inside, you will lose. You will lose. You will get deeper. You will get deeper. You will get deeper. I remember talking. I'm of the LDS faith. Bill's just a great Christian, non-denominational Christian. Okay. Regardless, this is a terrible thing in life. I don't care your religion. I don't care if you don't believe there's a God. It will ruin your life.
Yep.
But this is the power comes from. I remember mentioning it to my bishop one time, and then I think it hit me really deep. You know, I'm offending her. So I'm offending, and I'm going to talk to my wife if I have a problem on these things. And when there's a problem, I'm going to rise. I don't want to wait and then talk to somebody else. I need to talk right now. And luckily, over the past 12 years of our marriage, I've been able to come out that if and when this problem arises, I can go to my wife like, look, I need accountability. I need to make sure I'm here. I need to make sure that that this doesn't rule me. And guess what? It stops becoming a problem.
Right.
And it's so freeing because you don't have to carry the weight by yourself.
Right.
When you're carrying weight, guess what you're going to do, especially on ADHD, because we are so addictive. We're going to go seek for the dopamine hit again, and guess where we find it?
Wherever you're going to source it.
Half the time back in the same thing that's our problem, right?
To the person that you're talking to. So just for reference, the person that, whether it's the husband or wife in the relationship that the person is coming to tell, you have to, there has to be grace when you're having that conversation. You can't get angry.
I'll tell you, most relationships are not like ours.
It's like when you talk to it's like when your kids come and talk to you and they tell you that they did something wrong and you scream in their face. They're never going to come talk to you again.
But how do they come with you? What intent though? Too, sometimes it's the intent.
It is. But you look at, if your kids come and tell you they broke something and you freak out on them, the next time they're going to hide it. The next time they break something, they're going to hide it.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. If your spouse, whichever side is struggling, comes to you and says, you know, I'm struggling with credit card debt, or I'm struggling with pornography, and you
or drugs
immediately or drugs
anything,
or whatever it is,
right.
if you immediately are, well, how swearing and how the heck could you let this happen and freaking out and why would you look at somebody else and do you not like me? Am I not gonna, and just immediately
which those are
pulling
thoughts.
things around. They are thoughts. They are. But if you can look at it as, especially like this situation, if you can look at it and see, it's not you. It's not, this has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with me. The way, if he sees something, it has zero to do with me.
And I hope, I mean, it might be different for some other people, but it's true. This is what's so crazy about this one specifically. I mean, look at her. She's a beautiful woman. I don't know what it is about men. Sometimes it's like,
or pigs.
We are, dude, and it's terrible.
That's what it is. We're disgusting people.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But you know what? The greatest thing about this, though, is the freeing part is when you can recognize that you have a problem. Everybody has a problem. I don't care who you are. You have a problem with something, whatever it is, whether it's small or whether it's big. Talk to somebody about it because it's so freeing. And that's when you can literally gain crazy amounts of strength. It can no longer be a weakness. It can literally become a strength.
And the person that you trust can be the person that can help you with it, right? Because for example, Jake, he doesn't have very many issues recently, but if he has found himself in a week where he's like, man, I'm struggling. He's like, hey, could you just ask me every couple days? Can you just ask me every couple days how things are going? Because I could just feel it, and I could just use some of that.
Yeah.
As help.
So there's a quote from a book, and the book's escaping me, and it was a faith-based book, and I want to talk about that a little bit too with addiction and how it changes your life, as Jake was commenting.
It's the only way you can be free, man.
And an incredible partner. I've been married 30 years, and my wife has been through everything negative that a wife could be with a husband. And for whatever reason, she stuck it out. And that is the only reason that I'm in a healthy place today, is because she was there to support me through being vulnerable. But I crashed one day. Oh, the book, the quote. It was that the devil plays chess.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
Because he's always like 3, 4, 12 moves in front of you. So it's like recognizing those little breadcrumbs that the devil is playing with you, and saying, oh, I see this pattern. It starts here, it escalates, and it leads me to this bad behavior that I'm chasing after. And it's not because I want it, it's because I need that fulfillment. And again, with any addiction, it was probably 4 years ago. I'm coasting along. I worked for a great company that had a lot of support systems. I loved the guy that owned the place. It was just time for us to move on this year and start a new business. But it happened at such a great time for me because where I was in life. But there was one day a year, I'm not going to mention it because Idaho Falls might go insane, but I had to put on an event.
I know exactly.
And because of my ADD, I was like neurotic about everything about this event. And I would have nightmares. Like one night I woke up in the middle of the night in cold sweat, and it's like 3 weeks out. And we live in Idaho Falls. We don't live in Africa, okay? But I had this dream that right before the event, 100,000 people got trampled by elephants. And I was like, yeah.
That's cool.
Okay.
All right.
Right. So we're leading up to the event this like 4 years ago. And
there were elephants here a long time ago.
probably. I'm building up this angst like I do every year before this event. And I struggle with it all year long because I'm like, okay, we got to start thinking about this and this and this, and totally obsessive about it. And I'm cracking, and I wouldn't cry in front of my wife. Like if I was getting emotionally distraught about something, I would like slip away into the bathroom and get it out and like be like, oh, I'm all man, I'm all good. Had this real struggle about being emotional in front of my wife. And I woke up that morning just before I was diagnosed with ADD or through recovery and all kinds of therapy and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just breaking down. I'm like literally losing it and hyperventilating. I realized I had 3 meetings that day about this event. And I'm like, I don't want it. I don't want to do any of this. And I lived probably 7 minutes from my door to my previous business office door. And halfway there, I just start crying and bawling. And I pull into a church parking lot that's halfway there. And I'm like, I'm having an anxiety attack. I'm freaking out. I don't know what's going on, but I cannot show this to anybody. Oh, I missed something. So I come out and I'm all cool. And I look at my wife and I just start losing it again. And I think that was the first time that I realized I didn't have control over it anymore. So back to the parking lot of the church, I pull in and I'm like, I don't know what to do, who to call, what to say. I'm going to fail. And I call this person that I normally would never talk to about being vulnerable because this person didn't show a lot of vulnerability to me, and we worked together. And quite honestly, at that point, we didn't have a really solid relationship, personal relationship. It was just professional. And I called him, and thank God I did, because he quickly addressed some things that I was just terrified by that he said to me. And I even said, when he got done with what he said to me, I was like, why in the world did you say that to me? He said, Bill, it was God. He asked me to meet with him. He became a really important part of my life. And he made me aware of some problems and defects I had. And I immediately, because I'm ADD, I was like, okay, let's get through this. Let's get after it. And I came home. I shared with my wife what was going on. And without an incredible partner at home, I mean, most women have been like, I'm out.
Dude, we have some incredible wives.
I'm out. And she didn't. And I immediately went to work on addressing things. I went back to my doctor, the book, ADHD 2.0. Let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. This is a great book. If you're ADHD, read this. My favorite line is that the person with ADHD is a race car with bicycle brakes.
Oh,
you just can't. You can't get out of the way as somebody with ADHD that's on emotion. So get this book, ADHD 2.0. It's amazing. This great audiobook if you're not a reader. I was forced to read by my business partner, which I'm grateful for, but this is a great one if you're ADHD.
Race car with freaking bicycle brakes, man. I think that is the most true statement of my life. Yeah.
So through the last 4 years, part of this, what this person that I was referencing, he's an incredible friend now. He's been he was my first accountability partner, and it was shocking to me. Like I'm being vulnerable with another man.
Yeah.
Like about intimate things. Like that feels weird. I don't do this with anybody, let alone this person that I'm trying to figure out like this relationship thing. And, we're still great friends today. We're support people, but the accountability partner, if you have it at home, man, that's great. My business partner is an accountability partner. I have a built-in 24/7 accountability lifestyle now because he knows everything about me.
Can I bring something really quick?
Yeah.
I remember this time you and I talked, and I remember you getting so much more involved in faith too.
Well,
which is where the strength comes from. But this isn't necessarily a shout out to your business, but kind of. You and Jay started this business. And one thing I love about this, and this is where the strength comes from. For some reason, podcast always comes back to the Lord and Christ. It just is what it is, because that's life. you built this business, and I remember every person when you talked about it, because it was just you and Jay in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think I was your first client, actually.
You were 100% our first client.
And so we're talking, and I remember you mentioning how you're going to bring on the guy sitting behind the iPad right now.
Tegan, Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. your other girl. Yeah. And
Kylie, the
first thing
chameleon.
you asked these guys was, in fact, Tegan, behind the camera, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Did he not ask you right off the bat or tell you that we're basically a Christian-run business, and if you're not like going to be involved in that?
Similar.
About the cross on my neck.
Yeah. So to put it in the context of how we delicately approach that conversation.
That's a delicate conversation.
It has to be, right? Because you got to be smart about
discrimination.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, it wasn't that you won't work here.
It was similar. So what happened was Jay and I are very particular about everything, and we wanted to make sure that the people that we introduced to Vision 28 as teammates, one could grow with the business and eventually just run it, but also be strong in the foundation of a lifestyle that was accepting that, look, man, at lunch, we're gonna say grace. Are you okay with that? Right? Like, or we would say, sometimes you'll walk in here and we'll be reading the Bible. You know, here's a big Bible right here that sits here. It lives in the office. It's part of our life. And we immediately had a conversation with Tegan about his life journey, and he has a great story, and maybe he can attest to that at some point on this podcast or another one. But the idea was that God puts people in your life at the right time. It might not be the time that you want it, which is hard for people with ADHD because I want it right now. But everything happens in the right time according to your faith position. One of the other books that really helped me was The Miracle Morning, and we'll put a picture of this up here. It's all about like how you start your morning. And while I was going through a lot of serious neurological and like real in-depth therapy to get into a state of mind where I was healthy, I was going to a 12-step program, and like I went in kicking and screaming, like I would sit there, fingers crossed, arms crossed, like judging people like you're weird, you stupid, you don't belong here. And I had made a comment to myself that I would go to 5 meetings, because the guy that shared this with me, he was like, why don't you come to a meeting? I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I'm busy tonight. And then the next week, come to the meeting night, I can't. Third time, or coming to the meeting night, I'm like,
no,
I got this thing going on. And then he called me. He was like, hey, man, I'll be at your house at this time to pick you up. And I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't even know what I was walking into, because I really had no idea what to expect or what to think. But a 12-step program is a recovery program for any addiction. You can go to the government websites if you're struggling with alcohol, drugs, any number of things. There's probably still a 12-step program in your town. And they also do they do the automated ones where you can do it from home, but there's a lot of good that comes from being with people that have similar problems, because they can be accountability partners and you hold each other accountable, and it's a place that's safe for people to talk. And I'm sitting there with my arms crossed, like watching, like, okay, we're out of here in about 20 minutes. I'm going to sit here and not pay attention or listen to anything that's being said because I don't like this. And then it hit me that each step is a priority to address so that you can get to a place where your life is solid. And step 3 was surrendering completely to Jesus, or excuse me, I would say Jesus. In the program, they say your higher power, because some people with faith issues, which a lot of people with addiction issues have serious faith problems. I didn't have a there's no God thing. I just hated God, because I had a hate relationship, because I believed that all the pain I went through in my life was his fault. He didn't look after me. He didn't care for me. Now I look back and I was like, thank God was there for me at that point. Like, holy cow, like if he wasn't there.
We all talk to a higher power. Some people just don't know what to call him yet. It's the same guy.
Yeah.
It's the same guy.
Please. It's the same man.
It's the same guy.
It's the same.
You may not know his name yet, but it's the same guy.
His name is Jesus. But anyway, so when I started doing my step work and I got deep into it, again, a testament to this person and my business partner, Jay. I want to make sure, oh yeah, I'm just talking away. But they brought me to understand that this is a need, like having a relationship with Jesus Christ is a need. And by the time I got to the step 3, which is a total surrender to God, my sponsor was like, so we're on step 3. He was like, you truly believe that you surrender to God? I was like, of course I did. He was like, I know this was the easiest step for you right now. But like, it wasn't a struggle, but you do have to, if you're going to get yourself solved, you have to step in and say, okay, God, I surrender that to you. That's something I shouldn't be thinking about. I shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be focused on. That's not of God. That's of the devil. And I tell you, the devil starts playing harder when you're not doing what he wants you to.
What I wanted to really kind of transfer that is how you got to surround yourself with people that want to have the same goals as you and the same ethics and things. Not that you shouldn't talk to other people. You should talk to other people.
Right.
But you become very similar to the people you're around. And when you all have the same purpose, everything goes up. I bring up this triangle all the time. I use it with my spouse and I, but I think it's very similar to everything in aspect. If we have a triangle here, you've God at the top. And if we draw this triangle, you have you and your spouse or you and the people you're around. And if you continue to make a triangle bigger, these 2 points will get further and further away. But this is what's interesting. So if we try to get to God, these 2 points are going to go closer and closer and closer together. That triangle becomes smaller. Yep. But as these people get closer to God, they also get closer. But if you get further away from God, guess what happens? The people you're around, you also get further away. What I wanted to bring up is the fact that when I walk in here, I love seeing the Bible on the table. I think it's fantastic. I love seeing the cross around your neck. I like seeing the purpose that, hey, we're not ashamed to stand up for what we believe. Yeah. And at the end of the day, what this ADHD and everything else comes down to is if you want to be the best, you can and use these deficiencies or these disorders is what it's called, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. The best way to do it, to use them for superpowers and not become disorders, number 1, give it to God, but surround yourself with people who have the same likewise manner. And these things can physically become strengths because we're all or nothing.
100%.
And so when you have people around you that are in the good, we're going to put all of that into the good, and therefore everything will start to happen better. I appreciate you listening to our therapy session.
That's basically what it ended up being.
But I hope really the people listening today, I hope you can maybe recognize things in your life too. That maybe we need to work on, or maybe we've been hiding from ourselves, or maybe you have ADHD. After you listen to these things, you're like, dang, dude, I do some of that stuff too. Man, maybe I'm a little more involved in buying too many things than I should, or sometimes I struggle seeking that next hit. Maybe that's something for you too. Talk about it, think about it, and at the end of the day, surrender to God, and He will make things incredible for you. He really will. Yeah. And we will see you on the next podcast because we have a lot of other things to talk about. Our Halloween decorations, we probably want to do a podcast about that. I think I will just post a YouTube video. Yeah. We will talk about Halloween just from the crazy life.
Crazy.
And as you can tell from all of our stories today, how they were all different and out there. That's why we call this channel The Crazy Life.